All right, everybody, welcome. And my name is Matt Schmidt, and today we're going to talk to you about ad monitoring and scaling. Now, at this point, you've gone through the videos on targeting, on building your ad, and where we are right now is a full completion of your test. Meaning, if you had a $25 test for your ads, then you're going to let that spend through and then you're going to get to this point because you're going to want Facebook to spend its money on the test and then to give you a bunch of data for you to interpret in the report and make some decisions on killing and scaling. So obviously we're gonna here on the second line you're gonna see that we're gonna scale the winners, kill the losers based off of data that's appropriate for your ad. And we're gonna talk about this here soon. But basically what that means is you gotta monitor ad depending on the ad that you are running. And they change from like a PPE ad to a click to website ad to a web conversion ad. So we'll talk about that here a little bit more. And only scale once in the morning unless you're 1000% killing it. And my rule here is you must be patient. Scaling inappropriately at a bad time when you're running an optimized ad, meaning an optimized for paid post engagement, like I suggest, or optimized for anything else, Facebook is going to force spend your money by sending your ad to things like the like about association or like by association things that I talked to you about in the previous video. So these are the things we want to avoid, and we avoid doing that by making sure that we don't force spend money at any point in time. Let me give you an example. If you have a really good PPE ad with a very low cost associated with it, you might spend $6 or so by 5 o'clock at night, but you have a $25 test. Well, by the end of the night, Facebook is going to spend your money. Now we get into a danger zone here where they may or may not, depending on the size of your audience or, honest to God, what Facebook's feeling that day, put that ad in front of the targeted people that you want, and they might go into the likes by association. This is why you've seen some maybe in the group somewhere, or you might not have even heard about it, but sometimes people will spend through their entire budget or a good portion of it and have a very low click-through rate and poor performance when maybe the ad had been performing beforehand, or they thought that they were very targeted. And the reason for that is that Facebook force spends money to make sure that your budget is spent when you are optimizing for your ad. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into Facebook. This is one of my designs I ran back in June. This actually will be part of the case study in some of the next videos. And I wanted to kind of show you here. So a couple things to note. It is very old, or relatively old, so June 18th. I had a very good page post engagement cost on both mobile and desktop. I had a product that was only geared towards women. Men would not have responded to my shirt, so I did not run it to men. The budget right here is misrepresenting. I had a budget of about $80 for the day. As you can see what is total spent. This shirt was killing it from day one, from second one really, and I'll show you that here in the reports. But I scaled during the day because it was killing that to that 1000% level that I was talking about. Normally, what you should do is I started both of these off at 25. What you should be doing is only spending up to that 25 level on day one. So knowing what I know now, I might have played things differently, but again, this thing was absolutely making a tear. So I let it run. So let's go into the report. So if you've never gone into a report before, what you're going to be doing is on this button says View Report. You're going to want to click it, and it brings open this next window over here. Let me get my timeline here real quick. We had June 18th. So we just want to look at one day. And what they they pull up here is not really what I'm interested in looking at. So we're going to hit Edit Columns. It's going to give you a bunch of stuff. Don't focus what's on here on the left. Just focus what's in this two middle sets here. First thing you're going to do is click Add Name and add Set Name if it's not highlighted. Data breakdown, you don't need anything. Delivery spend. You can unclick everything and hit Amount Spend. Clicks, you don't need anything. Actions. Unclick everything. All you are concerned about is website conversion. And then cost per action. Since this is a PPE ad, what we're focused on is the cost per engagement. So we are going to select cost per engagement. Now going over to my slides real quick, I want to talk to you about where we did here is we said data appropriate for your ad, right? So if this was, say, a click to website ad, we were going to be focused on cost per website click. You can pull that up and take a look if you want, but you are running a page post engagement ad. So what you are focused on is that cost associated with it, because you are letting Facebook optimize to a post engagement. So you are going to focus on what the ad is optimized for, right? So let's go down here to the next step is cost per website conversion. And that is it. So let's save our columns. A couple things to note here. It's got my sets here and my ads. So we have our name for our ad sets, and we also have our name for our ads. The reason I took placement off of there is because we build placement into how we structure our ads. So let's take a look and dive in and look at the data to tell us, to give us a picture on what we should do next. Now remember, this was day one. This is a full day. I did scale during the day because you can see I sold 70 on the first day for $160. So this shirt was on a tear. Also, a couple things to note. On the last video, I showed you how to set up an ad. If you set it up according to how I set up, the reason I do that is because similar to how people used to do like campaigns and other campaigns that use a similar structure, you are allowing Facebook to optimize to the best ad. You can see that out of the desktop ads, only one of them got spend. And the reason is because this one was killing it. Down here in the mobile, you can see that three of the 5 ads got spend, and the other ones did not. The reason for that was that this one was sucking most of the traffic out, and then these two were doing the rest. Don't ask me why this one got more traffic than one that got 36 conversions, but that's what Facebook does. So now let's look at some metrics of what we should be looking and how we should be interpreting this data. So on slide number 2 here, what we're going to be doing is spend, cost per post engagement, and website conversion, and the cost associated with that. We're going to be looking at spend on our ads to make sure that we're at least spending half the profit per product. In this case, it's a t-shirt that had about a $13 profit per. And our cost per post engagement, we're going to be looking to make sure that it's below the 12 cent mark. Website conversion should be equal or less than 3/4 of the profit per product. Again, in this case t-shirt, in this case $13. So let's go back and see what that all means. So looking at this, obviously, scroll back up. Obviously 1, 2, 3, 4 ads got that spend mark that we wanted to take a look at. So let's go ahead and look at those 4. So all I did was sort on amount spend checkbox on everything being past that half profit per shirt. And then now I start to look at cost per engagement. All very low, way below the 12-cent mark that we were talking about. Now, if they were higher than the 12-cent mark or at the 12-cent mark, then we'd start considering, do we need to kill it or not? The indication of do we need to kill it or not has already been checked on one box, meaning that we spent more than half the shirt. Now we're going to take a look at cost per website conversion to see if that's the killer. If that was a 12-cent mark and we had not had any conversions, or we were at more than 3/4 of our profit per shirt for our each conversion, we would kill the ad. Let's go over that again. So we had checked the box and that we knew that these are the four we're going to look at. We're acting like this is 12 cents per post engagement. And so what we're going to be doing, we know that this is spent more than half of our profit per shirt. And this would, if this was, say, where it's at right now, we would keep it alive, even if it has 12 cents. But if this was at or beyond the 3/4 profit per shirt mark, so that would be like $9. So if this was $9 or higher, we would be killing that ad. So that's the kind of thing you come in here and you interpret. The reason for that, the reason I picked 3/4 is because that little last fourth does not give you a whole lot of room to be scaling into. Your cost per post engagement is going to go up as you scale. Just the nature of the beast. You can try to keep it down, but more than likely it's going to at least tick up a couple cents, if not more. Your cost per website conversion may go up again there as well. So with that 1/4 left, you might easily tip into breaking even or losing money on your shirt through that ad. So that's why we use these metrics that I've outlined to determine what do we scale, what do we not scale. So if I was to kill it, so say this is an ad that I need to now kill, all I do is click on this ad right here. I like doing right-clicking and open link in new tab. It's going to open up here. And all you need to do is tick that off. And that will set your ad to off. And you can do that to all the appropriate ads. And then basically come back to your campaign and say, I'm now going to tick this up to 50, or I'm going to tick this up to whatever the next level is for your ad, given the point where you are in the ad and the campaign. So if you start with a $25 budget, I would recommend going to 50, from 50 to 100, 100 to 200, 200 to 500, 500 to 1,000, and then just keep doubling until you hit your ceiling. Ceiling being you're going to be monitoring your ROI. As you scale, your ROI might dip. You can do one of two things. You can be happy that the fact that your ROI is dipping just a little bit, or you could sit there and basically let your ad run and continue to make money at that level. As long as you are going in here each morning, running your report, interpreting the data, looking at your metrics, you can keep that ad alive and continually make sure that you are making money. A lot of people don't think that that is what they want to do. They want to cram as much money into a campaign within their artificial window as they can, because you really set the length of the campaign. You are setting the timer, the famous Teespring timer. You're setting that on yourself. People are like, oh, it's not evergreen. Well, it is evergreen. As long as you can keep selling that shirt into the market. Now, eventually your market will be saturated with your own shirt. I've definitely done that. But you're evergreen in the sense that you can keep launching that campaign over and over and over again. And the beauty of monitoring your ads and killing the losers and scaling the winners is that you do all the work on the forefront, where you should have a very solid campaign, but then you just keep those ads running into your next campaign, into your next campaign, into your next campaign, and sell shirt after shirt after shirt after shirt after shirt. So that's what I wanted to show you today. Real quick, let's go back in here. I touched on it a little bit before, but for different ads, what do you look for? The only thing that changes from these metrics is the cost per objective piece. So for a click to website, you're going to be looking at the cost per website click. For a website conversion, you're just going to be looking at the cost per conversion only. That is the piece here where you're talking about looking at page post engagement. On these different ads, these are the ones you'd be looking at. The key is to focus on what is making your ad work and what are you optimizing for. So if your ad is working off of page post engagements, and that's what Facebook is optimizing to, then that's what you should be monitoring the cost for. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that really clears some things up on monitoring. Scaling is just about controlling the winners and then just keep ticking that money up until you hit that ceiling mark that I talked about. So this has been Matt Schmidt. I hope you liked this video, and I will see you in the next one.